Recording. Welcome to IA 101. This is the very beginning of the course. We've already had introductions, and now we're going to start talking about what mechatronics is. And this presentation is very high level. Some of you probably have seen it already, but the purpose of this presentation today is to make sure that you guys start thinking about all the different angles of mechatronics. A lot of what this course is going to be about is going to be talking about terminology. So this is the very beginning of that discussion, connecting what you already know about the course, which what brought you to this program and this course, to what's coming next, all the different skill sets that you're going to be either improving on if you already have work in the mechatronics world, or beginning if you're just coming out of high school. So the whole word mechatronics, it came from the 70s in Japan. And it's sort of an amalgamation of three terms: mechanical, electrical, and electronic. And it has to do with anything that you automate in the factory. In the 70s, there was a lot of energy about robots. In fact, I got caught up in that energy. We had a lot of manufacturing companies that took this concept of robots and started to run with it. And it was a lot of excitement. Somewhere in the 80s, though, more and more companies realized that robots weren't really going to do everything that science fiction thought they were going to do yet. And a lot of companies just did robots for show. But there was a core of robots out there that were doing things very, very successfully, making jobs safer for humans, faster and better manufacturing approaches. And that was very much coming out of Japan at the time. So mechatronics came out of that energy around automation. So the idea is, in the old days, you had a lot of factory workers. All work was done manually, and this is probably from the 20s, I'm going to guess, based on the image, 20s or 30s. And all steps, these are work cells you're looking at here. On the left, you see an assembly line and a lot of individual craftsmen working on different projects and moving them around a shop space. Today, starting in the 70s, primarily, though there were some earlier robots, you've got a lot of assembly being done by robots. And during the 70s, there was excitement about it, but it didn't really get huge penetration. But why is it becoming more and more common and more excitement is on robots? It's not just Tesla and Elon Musk. It's because robots and controls and automation are starting to become more standard throughout the industry, and frankly, less expensive. You can have very, very powerful computers running these devices now that used to be the size of a room, but today can be the size of your cell phone. So overall, mechatronics is a growing field. It is a field where we feel like students have the best opportunity across a lot of industries with this as their expertise. So mechatronics is the core, but it includes engineering. And I'm going to encourage anybody who wants to go and get a 4-year engineering degree, electrical or mechanical, or even a specialized mechatronics engineering degree. They're out there. Another skill is controls. That controls is a term used for any programming usually related to PLCs, which are programmable logic controllers. These are specialized hardened computers. They use specialized programming languages. And this is something you're going to be building skills in mechatronics, is learning how to program these things. Controls is any sort of automation programming. Electronics, another key area. I've had some of my students already be very successful, showing a lot of the projects that they've done with electronics, and they're pretty fun. Electrical, huge career potential. Any business you want in this area has a need for electrical services, and obviously there's specialized electrician outfits out there. In mechatronics degree, you're not really going to become, say, an apprentice per se, but you're going to be developing all the skills necessary to do industrial electrical work. So it's very important. Hydraulic and pneumatic is a key area as well. Very, very important across all sorts of manufacturing fields, and usually connected with some sort of automation. And of course, mechanical being the last step. Obviously, we all need to turn this electrical energy, this programming activity, convert it to physical movement. We want to move that robot. We want to move that opening and closing of doors, or the moving of carts, or the packing of material. So there's a lot of things in mechatronics, but all of it ends up with some form of physical movement. And here's just another view of mechatronics. It's just showing all the different industries that you run into. I talk a lot about manufacturing because that's the biggest industry kind of concept in our region, but we do have a lot of defense applications, automotive applications, and consumer product as well, and some medical, pharmaceutical that happening down in Frederick and a few other places. So all this is happening around here. So this is a good general purpose degree for a broad range of potential careers. Now, a lot of people just think, well, I want to get a job at the local factory, and that's great. You can do that. You can go down to Pella, you can get a great job, make good money, and have a career doing maintenance at Pella, which is awesome. But you don't have to limit yourself to a local factory. With a degree like this and developing skills like PLC programming, you'll find that your skill set could be in demand in a broad area all over the United States, and maybe even all over the world once you build a good skill set. So I'm going to encourage you to open up your mind and think about a broader future. So the data in 2018 said that manufacturing is 19% of our area workforce. I don't have much more recent data. Manufacturing has been declining a little bit over time, though there has been a little bit of a resurgence in the last 10 years. One reason for that is because of the workforce. A lot of the manufacturing folk at major plants like Pella and TE and so forth, they're desperate for new blood, because a lot of the generation that made those manufacturing facilities successful are in retirement mode. You're looking at the retirement of the baby boomers, and so a lot of those jobs are becoming available, and they need good expertise to come in and take those jobs, get paid those high salaries, so that these businesses can stay successful. And this is just a kind of a quick snapshot. A lot of the local companies, I think they're all still up to date. So I'm not going to dive into too much about HAC's mechatronic program. You guys already know this, otherwise you probably wouldn't be here. But a lot of what our focus has been in HAC is focused on maintenance, because that's the biggest job set in our regional industries. Since I've taken over, though, I've added a little bit more of a spin to maintenance and programming. The idea that we want a skill set of people who really know how to maintain this equipment, but also to modify and improve the automation that's out there, and become more expertise in robotics and PLC programming and general robot system or automation system design. And I always weigh experience as the most important factor from a faculty perspective as well as from a student perspective. You've got to get out there and get experience. All right, so there's our lab. You don't need to hear about that. This is a list of our programs in the course, which I'm sure you guys are all aware of. We've got 2 different degrees, the certificate, which then wraps right into the 2-year AAS degree. And we have the opportunity for you to pursue a bachelor degree, a 60-credit 4-year degree Bloomsburg University has got sort of an agreement with us, but there's other courses, other programs, say at Penn State, that are very similar to our mechatronics, and you'll be able to use a lot of the credits from our courses and apply them to your 4 degree. And I'm just going to skip over this Bachelor of Applied Science stuff. You will be able to go to Bloomsburg and you will be able to get some credits from them. And you don't need to know about the schedule or about Sarah. So